State police say that they are investigating an attack on author Salman Rushdie. They say that a male suspect, now in custody, ran on stage at Chautauqua and attacked Rushdie and an interviewer as well, and that Rushdie suffered an apparent stab wound to the neck.
So you might have been following the breaking news of author Salman Rushdie being attacked earlier today. It was not immediately clear how serious it was, but it turned out to be incredibly serious. He did suffer a stab wound. One witness said that the attack lasted about 20 seconds, in part because people didn't understand what was happening. They were so shocked that people didn't immediately intervene. As of right now, he is at a hospital. His condition is described as serious but recoverable. It isn't believed at this point that he will die, although obviously these situations can change, and Rushdie is 75 years old. A lot of people are wondering why, considering the long history of violent protests concerning his work, which we'll get into, why there wasn't better security. Although he does do a lot of talks, and so at some point, I suppose he's gonna do it at a place that's not gonna take it serious enough. This particular place, by the way, no metal detectors, no bag checks. Most people leave the doors of their century-old cottages in this place unlocked at night. It's considered a very peaceful place, but unfortunately this still occurred. Now, if you're not familiar with Salman Rushdie or why, first of all, we do not know if this is why the attack happened. Let's be very clear about this. This is pure speculation at this point, but based on some history. He wrote a book back in 1988 known as the Satanic Verses that was viewed by many Muslims as blasphemous. In the aftermath of that, there were violent protests around the work, incredibly violent. At least 45 people were killed in riots, including 12 people just in his hometown of Mumbai. A Japanese translator of his book years later was stabbed to death. An Italian translator survived the knife attack. The book's Norwegian publisher was shot several years later, but survived. And the book was banned in Iran, where the Ayatollah Khomeini issued a fatwa in 1989 calling for his death. And there was a promise of millions of dollars to the person who was able to kill him. And so for many years, he went into hiding. He's obviously feared attacks for some time. Again, we do not know if this is why the attack happened, but it doesn't seem completely implausible.
Yeah, and given that we just found out about the Iranian plot on John Bolton, I don't know that those two things are connected, but after all these years for somebody to attack him now seems strange. But it would be surprising if it wasn't about Satanic Verses. Okay, number two, to be fair to the security there, initial reports are that a state trooper is the one that basically saved his life. And by the way, the crowd was incredibly heroic. They rushed the stage and subdued the guy. So thank God for everybody on the scene that he survived and the moderator survived, etc. Now, Salman Rushdie is an absolute genius, one of the greatest writers of our lives. My favorite fiction book of all time is Midnight's Children, a different book from him. And so when fundamentalists do these attacks, if it was a fundamentalist, they're basically admitting we've lost. We've lost the battle of ideas. We cannot debate you. You're obviously correct. And everything we believe in is a lie. So that's why we're resorting to violence. There's no way in the world we could beat Salman Rushdie in a battle of ideas. They're admitting when they go to violence. And this is not a powerless group that is fighting back against oppression and resorting to violence. Iran is a giant state, and if it was them, well, we know it was them that at least put the bounty on his head, right? So that's the Grand Ayatollah saying, I'm an idiot. Why don't you go debate Salman Rushdie? Oh, you can't do that, right? Because he would, if you would, kill you in the debate, intellectually. But you're not an intellect. All these fundamentalists of any religion, they're the exact opposite of intellectuals. And when they do the acts of violence, it is an admission of defeat. We're too stupid and we're too wrong. And I'll say one more thing about it. Your God is so mighty that he needs you, rando, to act on his behalf? I thought he was all powerful. I mean, what can you do to him that Allah's not gonna do to him in eternity?
Right.
Now, this is important to clarify. The overwhelming majority of Muslims do not agree to this.
Yeah.
They think this is terrible and abhorrent. The fundamentalist Muslims are the right wing of the Muslim world. and they are shunned by the center and the left. And it is the fundamentalist right wing of the Muslim world that says, no, we're stupid and we can't possibly win if we're discussing ideas. So we're gonna be barbarians and we're gonna attack. And by the way, admit that Allah's not at all powerful and I have to do it for him.
And we don't enjoy a good book. Just one book, apparently. But I mean, look, we're on an anniversary also of the murder of Heather Heyer at the Unite the Right rally, and in 2017, and that's where this country is headed as well. I mean, you think there's logic when it comes to white nationalism or Christian chauvinism or white identitarian politics? No, there's not. They're cowards. Every time they get challenged to a debate, they run away, or they get tricked by a dolphin fetus, what have you.
The thing that actually happened.
The thing that actually happened, and so you see the way that Christians in this country are being misrepresented by a growing but a minority of crazies, and how it is conflated also with incredible racism and white supremacy.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, fundamentalists are all the same. No matter what the religion is, no matter what the nationality is, you've got all these Christian nationalists now throughout the world. The guy who did the attack on Muslims in New Zealand, right? You've got Dylan Roof doing the attack on black folks for white nationalism. You've got other Christian nationalists that murdered here in America on behalf of Christianity. And then that's when Christians will scream, well, that's not real Christianity. Exactly, that's the same exact thing Muslims say. And then racist bigots like Bill Maher and Joe Rogan and Sam Harris here will turn around and go, no, that is all Muslims. But Christians, like I once said, hey, Christians did the Holocaust. And the right wing was outraged. They're like, how dare he say something that's true? Okay, no, I'm not saying all Christians did it, but that Adolf Hitler literally said, I'm doing this for Jesus Christ, right? Now, you are right as a Christian when you say that does not represent me. That is not at all Christians. You're absolutely right about that. And so are all these Muslims saying that fundamentalist lunatic does not represent us 1.6 billion Muslims across the world.
Yeah.
And all of us need to unite to fight against these fundamentalists of all stripes. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.